Welcome back, lads, to another Dauntless video, and today we are recapping my most viewed topic of videos, and that is meta builds, meta guides, whatever you like to call it. But I've got 5 builds for you today. One of them being a pike, one of them being a dual blades, one of them being a hammer, 1 sword, and 1 strikers. I've had to update this video just so obviously it's in line with the recent update, recent patches. And I've done a lot of digging the last 2 days, going into people's videos, analysing, seeing what builds they're using, seeing what builds they've uploaded onto YouTube. I've tweaked a couple, added a couple of what I've seen some of the builds which have been recently used in trials, sort of tried to mould them into these 5 builds. Hopefully you guys do like them, because this time they are a lot more diverse, a lot more different than the previous meta, but you will see a correlation on what is similar in this current state of the game for Dauntless. But first things first, we are going to be running the Omni-Cell discipline for every single one of these builds, apart from the 1 Iceborne, which will be the striker build right at the end. But starting off with the pike build, we are running the Tordagoro pike with endurance, adrenaline, savage wellspring, executioner's spearhead, and the overpower inferno's arrow bond. I like to run strike seal, but for every other build in this video you can do whatever one you like. I just like to run strike seal on pike, especially right now because the tap ability has been changed to the Omni-Cells. So I really like having that added attack speed, just because that is what I think is lacking in most builds right now, just because of the erosion of Wild Frenzy and not having much speed in general in any builds. Also, another side note on these builds, all catalysts can be changed for conduit, and I'm going to say it again, catalyst can be changed for conduit. I'm going to say it one more time, catalyst can be changed for conduit for every single one of these builds. But for the build's sake, we're going to run catalyst just because it is the better counterpart. The shroud head with overpower, the Frax chest with berserker, the Ember's main arms with berserker, and then the Scrave legs with catalyst. We're going to be running the Blitz, Frenzy, and Insight tonic if you are running tonics. There is no real tweak to this build. I would run it like this. This is probably one of the best DPS builds for Pike at the moment. I wouldn't change much. Maybe I would put Savagery in there instead of Endurance, but I actually quite like how this build runs with the Adrenaline. So I'm now going to put you through to a couple of runs with this build. Moving on to build number 2, but before we do that, if you are new to the channel, definitely consider leaving this video a like, and if you do like videos like this, also subscribe, because this is something which I normally do recap on quite a lot of patches every so often, every 2 months, every 3 months. So definitely leave this video a like if you do like content like this. But moving swiftly on, As I said, Discipline Omnicell. We're going to be running the Frax Chainblades. I guess you could run the Tordagoros ones or the Agaris ones, but I like to run the Frax ones with Overpower, Berserker, Reaper's Dance, Serrated Blades, and the Stalker's Trap for that Assassin's Frenzy replacement instead of Wild Frenzy. Once again, Strike Seal for that extra attack speed. Shroud Head with Overpower, Frax Chest with Berserker, Malkarian Arms with Predator, and again Scrave Legs with Catalyst. And we're running the Blitz, Frenzy, and Ether Drive Tonic for the pair up with Catalyst. And the perk overview looks a bit like this: 6 Zerk, Catalyst, Cunning, Overpower, Predator, leaving +3 of Adrenaline and Assassin's Frenzy. I wouldn't tweak too much. I guess you could change the Assassin's Frenzy to +6 Adrenaline for more damage if you really, really wanted to. Where is that? Assassin's Frenzy. Oh no, you can't, so I do apologise. You can't do that. So no, I wouldn't change this build. This is actually how I would keep it. There is no change in my opinion. This is a flawless build and this does give you quite a lot of DPS. Moving on to the hammer build number 3, and this is quite a unique one, and I was really testing out a lot of things, and this is the build I got for the hammer, which I found really, really effective. I'm running the Erskar hammer with Overpower, Evasive Fury, Mighty Landbreaker, Extended Clip, and then the Pangar's bond for that, obviously that nice bomb frost charge. Strike Lantern again, I recommend definitely running Strike Seal for this one, just for that extra attack speed. We're running the Rezakiri helmet with Assassin's Frenzy, Rezakiri chest with Catalyst, the Time Weave gauntlets with Berserker, Frax legs with Evasive Fury, and then once again we're running the classic Blitz, Frenzy, Ether Drive trio. Perk overview looks a bit like this: +6 of Catalyst, Cunning, Evasive Fury, Overpower, leaving +3 of Assassin's Frenzy, Zerker, Conduit, and Knockout King. The whole concept of this build was to have nice damage from the Cunning, Catalyst, Overpower states with the Zerker as well. We also have the Evasive Fury because we're going to be wanting to dodge and making use of our attack speed when we actually do dodge through behemoth attacks. Also, the extra attack speed from Assassin's Frenzy is really, really nice. That also paired up with the +3 Conduit leaves even more attack speed. Since there's no Wild Frenzy, I think this is quite a nice balance of attack speed. A thing you can do to this build is change the Evasive Fury to Zerker. It is a lot slower. You can do more DPS if you're clinical, but I do think this is a nice middle ground, and I think people will enjoy playing this hammer build. moving swiftly on to build number 4, and this is one of my favorites so far. It is very similar to the Chainblades build, but we have a sword one here, the Malkarian sword with Predator, Avenging Overdrive, Recursive Hilt. I do recommend running Recursive Hilt on most sword builds just because you do get more Valor over time. The Storm Sword for the Energize +3, Shrike Lantern again with Catalyst, the Lightning Helmet with Cunning, Frax Chest with Zerka, Time Weave Arms with Zerka, Time Weave Legs with Overpower, and again the same Blitz Frenzy and Ether Drive Tonic. The perk summary is all +6 perks of Zerka, Catalyst, Cunning, Energized, Overpower, and Predator. I guess one thing you could do is change the helmet for Light's Crown to give you Conduit +3, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think having the Energize +6 is really nice to get more Avenging Overdrives more quickly. There's not any tweaks for this build. I do like running this. This is just a powerhouse sword build and probably one of the best you can run at the moment. If you want to substitute this for any of the other swords, be my guest, but I just wanted to run the Malkarian one just because. Finally, with the last build. Normally we do the strikers first, but this time I think I want to leave this last just because it is different to the others. All the others are running the Discipline Omnicell, and this one is actually running Iceborne. I haven't found much use for Bastion, only for style points. There is a couple of things you can do with it, but in regards to meta and doing damage, I don't really like Bastion. There is a couple of options, like I said, but I'm not going to put any builds for Bastion in here, but I do have a couple of Bastion builds in the future, so please bear with me on that one. But for now, for this build and for this video's sake, we're going to be running Iceborne. We're going to run the Malkarian strikers again. You can change these for the Tordagoros and once again any of the other legendary ones, but we're going to be running the Zerka and Overpower in the slots with Titan's Crash, Psychonic Strike Plate, and the Thundering Bolts for that +3 Uther Attunement. I'm running Pangar's Lantern for this one only because we're running the Ether Drive Tonic and the Ether Attainment. You do get a lot of spams for Pangar, so I do recommend running the Pangar's Lantern on this build. Shroud Head with Overpower, Boreas Chest with Parasitic, Charog Arms with Catalyst, and then the Frax Legs with Berserker. The perk summary looks a bit like this. It's very different, and let me explain why. +6 of Zerka, Catalyst, Cunning, Overpower, Rage, leaving +3 of Uther Attainment and Parasitic. Previously, Iceborne obviously was this tanking mechanical build where you would just sit there and just spam attacks. I've tried to recreate that in this particular build. We have the damage from Berserker, Catalyst, and the Cunning, obviously getting the Overpower states in. But also we have the Parasitic to keep our HP up alongside the Iceborne, so it will keep your HP up as high as possible for long periods of time. And obviously we are running Rage, so once every 15 seconds you can take damage and you deal 20% damage for 15 seconds. I was trying to input Rage into this build because there isn't much builds where Rage actually can shine, and I think this one is really good because you are going to be tanking hits. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this particular build, because I know a lot of guys are running Iceborne still, and I think this will be a nice fit for a lot of players. Definitely give me a shout. And also all the other builds, let me know which one's your favorite, test them all out, tell me if you don't like them, tell me if you do, all of that business. But I'm going to leave you with some gameplay of the strikers. Guys, peace. I will see you in the next video.